I'm not going to say a single word about the Tennessee Titans record against the Indianapolis Colts because I was a punter, and there's no reason for me to talk about that. With that being said, we did not punt much against the Tennessee Titans, so you probably have no clue who I am to begin.
Look, I'm unstoppable. Forget your defense, nothing but an obstacle. Run it back, switch it up, call it audible. Serving up them Hail Marys till the game over with the showstopper. So hot, you gotta blow on it. I said I'll huff and I'll puff, then I'll pass to my left while I'm looking to my right. Hit him right in the chest. It be looking like magic. Better give me the throne. I ain't talking about Patrick, but I rep my home. I'm never at the end of my zone. I'm bad to the bone. Eating up these pig skins like they chicharrones. And you a douche cabron. Mira, mira at the mirror on the wall. I'm the greatest of them all. They gon' put me in the hall. Your name is only written in a bathroom stall. Quit your stalling and make a play. My drive too long. Pop the clutch, I don't pump the brakes. I know what it takes to gain the muscle, get rugged. These butterfingers be fumbling. Squash the scrimmage and rub it in Robitussin. How I give them concussion. They see in double, they rushing and pass the shovel. The dirt and rubble, I bury them under it. Stay in your huddle and get 10 yards back. Never turn your back. I'ma pull your flag. I go full contact. Out punch, out kick like a shotgun.
Welcome back, everybody, and welcome to the new viewers that we have coming in. We have a very, very special guest, very, very well known amongst the Colts community, and based on what we've just talked about, also amongst the Colts organization. I'm gonna say Colts Stadium. If it's Colts, then he's connected. But we're gonna get to that in a second because we're gonna make sure that he properly gets introduced to those who don't already know him. But welcome back to the HorseShoe Mob Podcast. We're bringing to you everything Colts, making sure that you know what's going on. Even if you didn't know, you know what? You're going to find out anyway because we're going to let you know. So before we go ahead and get to the special guest of the hour, just want to get to I'm Chris Jackson. We also have with us Harish Nukala.
What up, what up?
We have the silent assassin, Austin Cook.
Yeah, what's up? I'm Austin.
And we have with us the man who is the Titan sworn enemy, Josh Senior. Everybody,
what's good?
All right. So as you can see, we have somebody else with us tonight. We have the I'm gonna say, is he the host? Is he? I'm not sure exactly what the title is, but if you've seen the Sick Podcast Anvil Show on YouTube, you know who this man is. Like I said, you know he's connected with everything. He sat down with Chris Ballard. He sat down with, matter of fact, with most people. If you name him, he might have sat down with them or he's had a chat with them. But either way, we like to welcome, very special guest, Pat Doerflein, everybody.
Thanks for having me, you guys. Who wrote that song? That intro is kicking.
Everybody says that. Everybody says that.
I love that, man.
Matt Briggs is the person who is responsible for getting like the music and stuff. He just runs it by us, and we're just like, hey, that sounds dope. So, yes, if we get your approval, then once again we know that we're doing something right. So, shout out to Briggsy. He's on the Texans Fan Battle podcast. Even though, you know, we don't care too much for him, but whatever.
You know, I don't mind the Texans too much. You know, I've been down there for a game. I'm going back this year for the second game.
Okay.
And I was treated like royalty, walking through the tailgating and all that. Yeah, I had somebody boo me because I was wearing my Leonard shirt. And 50 strangers that I've never met before all came to my aid. No, knock that shit off. We don't do that down here. I'm like, what?
well, I do want to talk about, you know, the last game of the season with your multi jersey you had on. I want to question, you know, what happened. What happened?
What? Oh, no.
First of all, get Clyde out of the comments right now. I know who's feeding you this information. Well, last year, the Anvil did a Christmas charity challenge against the Texan duos. And it's a couple I know down there. And we was raising money for a children's organizations. And whoever won or raised the most money won. Loser had to wear the opposing jerseys. Well, I lost. So they brought an extra jersey with them. I paid up, but I had my Colts hat on. So ESPN, Barstool Sports, our local media friggin' had a heyday. This guy don't know who he wants to root for, and this and that, and this and that. And my phone is just blown up. Dude, you're on ESPN. Why? Because you're wearing a Texans jersey. So that's the story behind it. I lost a bet, but it was for a good cause. Was raising money for kids. Good. So I'll do that every year. I don't care if it's for the kids. I'll wear a dress. I don't care.
That's fair. That's fair. If it's for the kids, then all right. That makes sense then. And we got comments in here. We have coming from.
Hold on. That photo, Josh, actually made it onto the Houston Texans website. Selling their season tickets. Come be a part of the fun.
All right, so we have we have two people. We have Vika saying hello, Patrick. Good night from Acapulco, Mexico. I'm on vacation.
Hola.
Hey, hola. Welcome. All that good stuff. Thank you for tuning in. Then we have Chase. He says, "Hey guys, welcome, Pat, my old boss."
What's going on, Chase?
What's everyone take on the JT pup list to work out the contract? We'll get to that soon. And then we have Rebecca saying, "Hey, Big P, go Colts."
Big P.
Rebecca. Go Colts as usual. Is this the only blue in the division that actually makes sense? So, yes.
Yes, that is correct.
So then, without further ado, since we've already gotten into that, just tell us a little bit about yourself, how you got so connected within the Colts community, and you don't have to go too far into what you got coming up, but we'll talk about that after the fact. But let us know a little bit about you, man.
First of all, I'm a disabled vet, 100%.
Thank you for your sacrifice.
Yep. Thank you. I'm a father of two, grandfather of two. You cut me, I guarantee you my blood's blue.
I love it.
A good while back in 2015, 2016, I built a sports app. And as I was learning Facebook algorithm and learning the funnel system, I don't know if any of y'all know what all that is, but it's how you get on more timelines by their algorithm. Yeah. And I was failing miserably. So I was learning how to build a funnel in Facebook, and I started doing pregame shows off my phone in my living room, and it took off. Mm-hmm. And so the next year I got a studio, cameras, lights, this and that. And I knew if I wanted to keep growing that, to keep building a funnel, I had to grow the sports stuff. Sports is what I know. Sports is what I love. So it just made sense. So I would go to football games, shake hands, kiss babies, however you want to say it. I ended up meeting Chris Ballard out there, formed a relationship with him, still have it today. And actually, the Anvil crew gets an on-site interview with him this Friday at training camp.
Awesome.
Nice.
So
awesome.
If you guys are around training camp, stick around, yell out, cheer, let this man know he's not wasting our time. That, and we always say we're for fans by fans. That's the kind of show we have. We're not trained journalists, and we don't try to be, so, what you get from us, like you guys, you get an honest opinion, your take on what's going on, the game, this personal play, versus the standard ESPN comments. Oh, he had a good opportunity to get a couple extra yards there, but he missed it. It's just, journalism to me is boring. I want to know, what you think about that, Chris? Man, if he would have just juked instead of jived right there, he could have got 15 more yards. Yep. And then start breaking that down. and have honest dialogue, not this reporter stuff. So we don't try to be, Colts insiders because we're not. We don't try to be Zach Keefers because we're not. We don't try to be Bob Kravitz because we're not. Those guys are trained professionals and they're very good at what they do. I mean, extremely good.
Yep, absolutely.
That's not us. We're fans that put shows together like this because we love our team. We love our sport. We love watching. We love dissecting what's going on. We love the highs. We even love the lows.
Yeah.
Absolutely. Because we're just fans.
Yeah.
So, that's how I met Chris and built a relationship for him. I go to the combine every year. I shake hands, kiss babies with anybody that I can. And you just keep building. If you're old enough, I've said this earlier, that's how you build your Rolodex.
Yeah.
You got to get off your ass. You got to get out there, put boots on the ground and make shit happen. And that's what we do.
No, absolutely. Absolutely. And I can tell, Pat, just that you've done it correctly, because this comment section right now is just going off. Teresa says that she would love to see you, or she would pay to see you in a dress.
You better get your checkbook, girl.
Sean says, "What's up, guys?" Raheem says, "We need Jonathan Taylor for the season." Yair says, "Greetings, brothers from Mexico. See you soon." Thank you, Yair. Hope you're staying safe. Now, I'm not sure if this is who I think it is. I can't confirm nor deny, but this guy says Pat is full of ish, and he thinks he knows everything. Now, the thing is, you know who you work with, so who could that possibly be from the Anvil Show?
There's only one person that could say something like that, Mr. Clyde Oliver.
There you go. Okay, Clyde. All right. Hey, shout out to Clyde.
And that's fine. If I could dish it, I can take it, by God. Because a couple weeks ago when you guys had him on, I was giving him a lot of hell.
Oh yeah, you absolutely were. He had to talk about the bets that he lost. He had to. Yeah, it was.
That's going to be the best beer ever.
All right. Then Chase says, "Big P has built everything the right way. Definitely a great fan, man. And thank you again for your military service." And
thank you, Chase. Chase is also in the military, so
yes. Thank you also, Chase, for your service and sacrifice. And of course, apparently this is Clyde, because he says, "Be quiet," with emojis. So yes, we'll go with that.
I tell you though, meeting people like you guys, meeting Clyde, Carve, Acosta, all these, everybody that has came into my life since I started doing that, the people I've got to meet, Chris, the organization, to me, it's just blessings, man. You do the right things for the right reasons, you get blessed.
Yeah.
So I definitely, I won't, and Clyde gets mad at me because I'm too humble, but I don't take credit for nothing because I look at everything as blessings.
Yeah.
So it's nothing that I personally did, or I don't have no aura around me. I don't have no crazy bloodline, and all this other stuff people like to talk about, but I do have a work ethic. I know how to get off my ass. I know how to make things happen. And I believe I'm doing them for the right reason. So everything falls in place.
Hey, amen. That's it. Yeah. And I mean, honestly, it's just like you're obviously feet to the ground. Cause that's you're very well connected. The one thing, first off, we need to go ahead and just talk about the website, www.fanbattlesports.com. This episode, along with our previous episodes, will be listed on there. You'll be able to see articles, not just from us, but from the other AFC South podcast. But you're tuning in to here, so we're only going to focus on this one. So make sure that you go on there. I think Josh posts regularly. Harish going to start posting for the Texas Longhorns fan battle. I know Austin said that he was gonna go ahead and do an article this week. He didn't say that, but you know what? Let's just go ahead and put it out there. All right. So,
I'll tell you what. If I'd known Josh was such a damn good writer as he is, I would have scooped him up years ago.
Oh, see, there you go.
We'll talk later. We'll talk later.
Whoa,
No.
whoa, whoa.
This is the poaching section
Yeah.
of the show.
Okay. So yeah. Well, yeah. So Josh signed a contract, so he stays. But yeah, so yeah, so then
I got lawyers, Josh. Don't worry about
And you got Chris Ballard.
And you got Chris Ballard, right.
This is also
He's the
true.
ultimate
This
lawyer.
is also true, but he won't leave Louisiana no matter how much we try to convince him. We're just like, hey, you could just go ahead and move up north. He's like, nope, can't do it.
Too damn cold.
Yeah, it's too cold. There you go. I agree with that.
Yeah, whatever you say. But in the meantime, so moving into Colts news, had a couple signings. So Al-Qadim Muhammad signed. If the name sounds familiar, it's because he was with us previously. I think he spent his first 4 years with us. Was in Chicago, I think, when Eberflus moved over, and then he spent last season was in New Orleans, but then we signed him back.
His first couple seasons was New Orleans, then us, then Chicago, then
okay. I know I had the roles reversed.
Yeah, we didn't draft him.
Okay,
No. We did not.
So is this? I'm gonna say this. This is put out there for everybody. So is this somebody who you think is going to compete, or do we look at it as okay, it's a depth signing?
You want me to go on this one?
Yeah, you go.
Yeah, it's the floor.
It's both. It's definitely a depth piece, but he can also compete. The man is a monster.
Yeah.
But will he take over a Kwity spot or a Dio? I don't know, because both of them have done nothing but get better the last couple of years. So he will compete, but he becomes a depth piece, a rotational piece.
Yeah, which necessarily isn't a bad thing, right? You look at his
absolutely not.
Here, you look at his last season here, he had 6 sacks. Was it 50 tackles? I think the big thing is 13 quarterback hits, which is something we struggled with last year. Not sacking the quarterback was one thing, but even like getting hits on the quarterback was a challenge for this team last year. And he also had 7 TFLs, which was his last year here was by far his best season. So I'm actually kind of surprised we didn't re-sign him when he left. But I think he went along with Eberflus, and that's where he was last year. I'm excited for this. Again, it is a depth signing, like Patrick mentioned, and I'm not expecting him to be like the number 2 to Kwity, right? I think it's a really good depth signing piece, and he's still fairly young. He's only 27.
And this is things I got to remind people about Chris Ballard. He said it in other interviews. He said it on our show before. He sets a number on every player and every position, and he won't go over it. So, people in the comments are saying they shouldn't have let him go. Well, if he was asking for more than what Chris valued him at, he's going to let him go.
Yeah.
That's just the way he operates this team. So without being a fly on the wall, we don't really know why they let him off. Yeah. But we understand why they brought him back.
Yep.
Yeah.
Absolutely. Yeah. I mean, and I'm going to kill your name every time I try to say it.
Just call me Gandhi.
Gandhi. All right. That name I know. So, like Gandhi was saying, 6 quarterback hits, all the sacks. I mean, his stats proved he deserved another contract.
Yeah.
So to me, it was about a money thing, and they couldn't come to sides. Just like boy that went to Tennessee.
Danico Autry.
Autry.
Everybody loved Danico Autry. The organization loved
100%. Yep.
And Chris had a number. Tennessee beat it. He come back and matched Tennessee's number, but didn't match his guarantee.
Yeah.
So he walked.
Yep.
That's just the ugly side of the sport.
It is. I think, and you and I kind of talked about this before the show, right? There's Ryan Grigsons who overpay for everyone, right? And there's Chris Ballards. There's Chris Ballards that have a number and are strict, and they want to stick to their status quo. And I think I agree with that. I think where where we are with Chris, I feel like I would like to see more of a medium where he's willing to say, okay, 2 years ago, okay, Al, yes, we did this and you did that, but here's what you've done for us, and here's me showing gratitude to you, and by doing that, I'm willing to bend the number a little bit. And I'd like to see. I think Danico is a perfect example of that. I thought we could have absolutely taken the risk and said, hey, the value and the production matches the risk that we could potentially be taking.
Yeah, you could have took the risk, but do you pay your bills at home? Do you run your house that way, or does your wife write out the bills for you? So okay, then you know exactly what's coming in every month. You know exactly what's going out.
Yep.
Because you're in charge of that. You budget your household.
Yep.
If the kids say, "Daddy, can we go out to eat tonight?" You look at that budget and you say no, or you say yes.
Yeah.
And I think people forget about that a lot of times. It's about budgeting your organization. Can you go over? Absolutely. Is it a risk to go over? Absolutely. But if you keep going over your budget because you want to be risky, you have no budget. You have no budget. You have no future. I mean, it's really just like your budget at home. Keep going out and eating at Texas Roadhouse, Olive Garden. And then you come home with no lights on because you did that.
Well, I'm actually going to Texas Roadhouse after the show. So
okay, but it's in the budget. But you see my point.
You literally talked him out of going to Texas Roadhouse. He's going to go to Subway.
Now I'm going to Taco Bell or something like that.
Exactly.
But yeah, to me, that's the way. I'm a simple-minded person, so I look at things very simple, and I try to relate a lot of things, to what I do at home. So what? Is there a booger on my face or something? Why is everybody laughing?
No comment.
All right, Clyde, you're done.
You're done, Clyde.
But yeah, that's the way. I don't get upset when people call him Bargain Ben Ballard. People say he needs to be fired, this and that, because I like his strategy. I like building from the draft. I like paying the players that you coach up. I don't necessarily believe every free agent signing is going to be a home run.
Yeah.
And that's where you blow your budgets. I'm sorry. That's just that's the fact of it. And he doesn't do that. And I appreciate it because I look at what he does, how I run my house.
Yeah.
I know how much is coming in. I know how much is going out. I know how much extra we're going to have.
Yep.
And that's how we live our lives.
Absolutely.
Do you think that the discourse is also in the fact that, like we saw, for example, I was very, very, very skeptical about Matt Pryor going into the season last year. And for me, it was just like, I feel like even if you don't get somebody who is just a world beater, all pro number one, it's just like, I at least my thought process was you can find somebody out there who's better than Matt Pryor. And then Matt Pryor just ended up just kind of being like an absolute liability at left tackle and right tackle and guard and
everything.
I think he played center at point.
Don't forget Julian Davenport either.
But when we're looking at like those types of moves and then you see like how bad that position was, do you think that also factors into that bargain bin Ballard mantra where you really believe that he's skimping and then, you have positions like that have kind of deteriorated since Anthony Costanzo left, for example?
Could it be? Sure. But could it just be it just didn't work out? Did anybody expect Matt Ryan to have the year he did last year?
Oh, absolutely not. No.
But he did have the year that he had, and now he's gone. Chris has said it, I don't know how many times before. You don't hit home runs on every swing you take. Mm-hmm. He goes, sometimes you foul out, sometimes you whiff out. He took a swing on Matt Ryan, and it didn't work out. He took a swing on Carson Wentz, and it didn't work out.
That's the problem.
And that's another name that I did not expect to have such a bad year. Carson Wentz. I really thought getting behind our O-line, Carson Wentz was going to come back to MVP form.
Yeah,
I really
down.
truly believe that.
Yeah, he was very up and down, right? But I think, again, I go back to what you're saying, right? You can't swing and hit on every single thing, but when you swing and whiff it at the most important position year after year after year, there's got to be a sense of accountability at some point, right? Obviously, we don't know what's going to happen with Anthony Richardson, and I think the other piece to this that I find very interesting are Colts fans, pushing the narrative. He's got to play. He's got to do this. He's got to do that. And I'm sure we'll get your take on this. But I think I'm on the opposite side of things and saying I think we have to be patient with Anthony Richardson. That it is in return going to come with maybe a year or two of disappointment and Ballard. I think the other thing I blame Ballard for, and I think it's already been called out in the comments, I think he holds on to things for too long too. And I think one thing he held on too long for is Frank Reich. I think he held on maybe a year or two too long. I thought he held on too long to Frank Reich. So I just wanted to say that.
I'm not going to disagree with you on that one.
Yeah.
Since what's his name went to Philly, our old OC,
Sirianni. Yeah.
Yeah, Nick. Frank really went downhill after that. And then he hit the turbo button when Jim Irsay got rid of Wentz.
Yep.
Yeah. He turboed down the hill after that one. But they gave him a new contract. And they're going to be paying that man, $200,000 a week for the next 4 years?
Jeez.
For not even being.
Yeah. So did they hold on to that too long? Yeah. Now, could have Frank rebounded from losing, his protege and Nick Sirianni? Yeah, but he didn't. So it was time for him to go.
Yeah.
And I bitched about it almost every week that I want a coach that coaches, not a coach that's in the clipboard like this.
Yeah.
Yep.
You
looking at analytics.
Every coach I know coaches from guts and feelings and seeing what momentum is going on there, and they combat that momentum. And you can't get that feeling if your face is in your clipboard.
Yep.
Exactly.
You just can't do it.
1,000%.
That coach has got to be in that game every play, every second, because that way when the OC calls down a play, no, let's try this. I think this is, blah, 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 blah. That's how you coach. You let your OCs do what OCs do, but if you see that it's not right, you make them change it. But he can't see it because he never was looking.
Yeah, it was never a feel for the game. It was just going off of what was going to be good in this situation based on what we see here. Like that.
Yeah, and then they brought in Marcus Brady, and believe it or not, that man's a genius. But he did not let him do his job.
Exactly.
And that was aggravating for 2 years.
Oh,
and he took the blame for something that literally was like, we could all see that it was Reich's fault. But
he got fired first.
Yeah, Brady was the first one. Why isn't Brady the one who gets to stay? Like when you know that Reich isn't doing what he's supposed to be doing.
Yeah.
I've said it for a while though.
Yep. Frank is so arrogant and wanting to be the guy. Like it's hard. It's like you get a promotion, but you're still stuck in your own ways of your old position. I always view like the organization as a job, right? And Frank's job is to be the manager of the team, right? Understand what all pieces of the team are and be a mentor and, stick your nose in where it is. But you hire your coaching staff of a group of supervisors, if you will, and people that you trust, right? And I felt like he hired these people and he micromanaged the heck out of them and never really allowed them to use their strengths to be able to – because we've had the roster. Like I would agree that Chris did draft a good roster. I do think that he held on to Frank for way too long. And I am the number one I like to call myself the potato head rank commission. I did call him potato head Frank. I'm sorry. I apologize.
That was my nickname for Phillip Rivers.
He did some boneheaded. He just did some boneheaded stuff, and I just couldn't get over it.
You know what? It was funny because I think Austin said on a podcast that we had one time, he was just like, "Listen, if Frank Reich walked away after that game, and I think it was maybe after the Jags game, he was like, if Frank Reich walked away after that game, I'd be completely okay with that." Just because of the fact that it was an awful showing when we knew for a fact that this was going to be just like a terrible time.
Yeah.
And I think like that was one of the, losing to a division opponent. It's just like, you get it, but being skunked by a division opponent is like that right there. It's just like that was it for me. I know that was
more than once. More than
once. Last place too, right? They were last place that year that we lost to them.
Yeah.
Lost to with the Frank first year, 6-0.
Yes.
Oh, geez, there's
this
more
last
than
one was
one.
I think was what 27-0.
Yeah.
But then, but
the
Pat,
playoff.
Have you had a chance to meet? Have you had a chance to meet Steichen yet?
I have.
What's your first impression?
Football nerd.
Absolutely,
absolutely a football nerd.
I like it.
He's in his comfort zone when he's talking football.
Okay.
I'm excited about that.
So and kind of my MO when I get guests in, because as a fan, I like to have more of a connection with the players, the coaches, the GM, so I like to ask questions, hey, where do you like to take your family for vacation? What do you guys like here? And, how was it growing up? Things like that I can actually relate to, not just, hey, on this play here, there was 4th down and you decided to go for it. What was your thought process behind it? Those are the kind of questions that actual reporters ask, so I like asking the personal questions where we can have a connection. And I don't think I'm going to ask him those kind of questions because he's such a football nerd and he's more comfortable talking football with you than he is talking about his kids and his wife and his life outside of football.
It's a separation. It's a separation of home and work.
Yeah.
It's just like he's dedicated to that. Okay.
Yeah, absolutely.
All right. Well, that's absolutely good to know for the future. So going back to a little bit of Colts news. So we saw that we had the Ballard draft haul where we had the 12 picks in the draft. And as of, I think, what was it today, as of yesterday, all draft picks, including Anthony Richardson, have been signed. So, considering how many draft picks we had and everything that they do, I'm going to say, well, they had to be signed before they went into training camp, correct?
For the player's benefit, yes.
Okay.
Now, can a player report to camp without his contract? He absolutely can. But if he gets hurt, he ain't getting a contract.
Yeah,
so
gotcha.
Typically that's why they hold out.
Yep.
Okay, yeah. Yeah, because I don't remember too many people holding out. I think the biggest name that I remember holding out was like the year that Joey Bosa was drafted. But like
that was a weird situation.
No, it was. Yeah. But then again, the Bosas are weird. So yeah, they're very weird people. Well, there's very, very weird people. But but so Anthony Richardson was signed, but we know somebody who wasn't signed. And Jonathan Taylor.
Signed or extended?
Extended. There you go. Signed, extended, whatever it is. There's no new deal in place. It's the deal that he has currently. Now, to kind of go back a little bit, the running backs had the Zoom call yesterday. They had the call regarding the pay. They had the call regarding, what was going on, overall feelings, basically expressing that they feel like they're not being paid the way that they're supposed to. Now, prior to everything that's been happening, we'd heard that Jonathan Taylor was, that he had the ankle surgery, I think in January?
Mm-hmm.
And he'd been fine. Like we heard that he'd been fine, but we see him coming in today, and then all of a sudden he's on the PUP list. So I'm gonna just going completely off of what we believe. Is this really injury related, or does this have to do with the contract?
Contract. It's my opinion. Like I said, I'm not an insider. I'm not a fly on the wall. Yeah. But just looking at the entire situation, it's all contract related. Because even though he's got one more year left on his contract, his rookie deal, if he gets hurt, it could potentially make him lose millions of dollars the following year.
Yep.
So
down the line.
Him and his agent probably sat down and said, okay, we need to get this done, so you can continue doing what you do, blah, blah, blah. But if you start camp tomorrow and you get hurt, this deal ain't going to get done. Yeah, and don't say people can't get hurt at camp. Our punter,
Rigoberto
Sanchez, tore an ACL running sprints.
Yep.
So it is the ugly side of the game, but it is a business, and these guys, they put their bodies through tremendous amount of torture.
Yeah.
Every Sunday. And in between that, they put their bodies through a tremendous amount of training to get paid.
Yeah.
So you can hate on Jonathan for it or not. But the fact is, if he gets hurt, he's not getting paid.
Yeah.
So and the whole thing about diminishing the running back position is so crazy to me, because here you got studs. You need them. If you don't have a running game, that's all they talk about. Oh, well, we don't have a running game. We can't do this because we don't have a running game. Oh, we can't do that because of the running game. Well, our running game is, really poor right now. Okay, so you get somebody that changes all that, and then you don't want to pay him. To me, that is just, to me, the running back position is still as important as the quarterback position.
Yeah. Yeah. And you know what? It's amazing how you see the kind of degradation that you see with running backs these days, because, you have running backs who are now playing more of a dual role anyway. But the thing is, it's just like, these are guys that are catching the ball out the backfield who, unlike some wide receivers generally are going to be just much faster, but you're going to deal with like thinner frames. If you have a running back that can catch out the backfield, you don't want to be going heads up with somebody who's 5'11", like 220, all muscle like a Saquon. But, the thing is, the only thing they're looking at is the fact that it's just like, okay, well, we're just going to look at carries and yards.
Yeah.
Like it's almost
I don't mean to interrupt, but I don't even think they look at that. They look at all these college kids coming into the draft. Yeah. I don't have to, and to me, that is where the NFLPA needs to step in, because that is the mindset of these owners and GMs. Why pay Dalvin Cook, $15 million a year when I can go to the draft and get a rookie contract and have similar production?
Yeah.
To me, that's where it's jamming up all the works for the running backs, is because these teams are like, nah, I'll keep the money and I'll pay a really good receiver, and I'll draft me a running back.
Yeah, and we had somebody who was commenting last week when we were talking about the running back situation, who was trying to say the same thing. It's just like, oh yeah, they have a bunch of guys that are going to come out next year who are going to be even better. It's just like, how do you know that? Like, how do we know that? Like, we've said that there's so many guys coming out, and that they're supposed to be projected to be like the next coming of Barry Sanders, and they end up being the version of Trent Richardson we got in the NFL.
Yeah, they're doing the same thing to that kid from Texas that went to Atlanta. Bijan Robertson. Yeah. Mm-hmm. They're talking about him like he's the second coming of Christ. But you don't know until the season starts.
Yeah, Harish.
No bias here, but I'm just saying.
Yeah, Harish.
Bijan Robinson is a generational talent.
Oh, I'm not saying he's not.
I'm just saying.
I mean, but if he gets hurt, he ain't generational no more.
No.
Why you? Yeah,
You
why
know,
you gotta
if-
put that on him, man. I get what you're saying. Obviously, I want Bijan to do really well.
Yeah. So then with that being said, I guess we're all in agreement that this is contract related.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Okay.
I believe so. Yeah, absolutely.
Yeah, for sure.
Yeah. So I mean, so then with that being said, then I mean, what really are we thinking is the holdup with what's going on? Like, is it the number? Is it that they're kind
It's
of
got to
reluctant
be.
to do so?
It's got to be the number, because if he was happy with the number that they offered, it
would've
would
already
have been
signed.
deal. Yeah,
Yep.
Yeah.
it's got to be the numbers.
Well, I think maybe I think it's twofold, right? I don't think it's the specific number over time. It's probably the guaranteed money within the number, right? So it's probably like X percentage of the number overall is guaranteed, and he probably wants that to be higher. Which, I don't blame him, right? You to Pat's point, like something happens tomorrow, you're screwed with no contract, and at any position, you want to try to get as much guaranteed money as you can, and I think it's more the guaranteed money versus the actual number.
Yeah.
Yeah, I just have a problem with that because we've seen Adrian James walk because of some money issues, and he went to Arizona, even though he did have a good season in Arizona, but you let another running back walk for guys like Joseph Adai and Donnie Rose and Donald Brown and goofy guys after that. You want to get the guy that's been a bell cow for the last 3 seasons, get the guy locked up.
Yeah. Well, so I mean, don't do that, because
Yeah,
I will not accept any.
just-
Don't disrespect
Why would
those
you-
guys like Dominic
Yeah.
Rhodes. Okay, listen, I was.
I'm just-
I was
I'm
on
just-
his
I'm
side.
just-
we have a
I'm
Super
saying, but
Bowl
you
because
have-
of that man.
Yeah, but I'm
Yeah,
saying you
because
had
of him and
to,
Joseph Adai.
but you had to have a running back by committee. I mean, even though it didn't work they didn't work the year after the Super Bowl because they all fell off.
Yeah. So then and Pat, I'll ask you this question, and I think I gotta talk about how you were able to change Harish's mind after all these years. But do you think that, like Jonathan Taylor, let's just say he ends up just staying on the PUP list, how does this affect what's going to happen in terms or does it affect what's happening in terms of Anthony Richardson?
Oh, I think it's a big change in Anthony's development. If you don't have that weapon in JT that is going to get those yardage, it's changing his development immensely. Because just take RPOs. Who you going to cover, Anthony or JT? They both can flat out fly. They both aren't afraid to drop a shoulder and hit your ass.
Yeah.
But you take away JT from that equation, now you're starting to coach and train Anthony in a different way than you would have if he has JT right next to him.
Yeah.
Not only that, JT is a hell of a blocking back too.
Yes.
Now we picked up that kid from Northwestern, Evan Hall.
Yeah.
But he's small. He's quick. He's more of a Naheem Hines size of a running back, and he's that little slippery guy.
Yeah.
Yeah.
You're not going to trust him to stay back there and be an extra blocker for Anthony Richardson. You're definitely trusting JT.
Yeah.
You're not, without proving himself. And I'm not saying he's going to be a bad back that can't take pressure off of Anthony. But if you go, to one of your 2, your 3, and your 4 running backs, do you really trust them to run those RPOs that you can with JT? I think it was Brandon made a comment about, JT will get his money. And I fully believe he will. And I fully believe Ballard when he says, we build through the draft, we pay our own guys.
Mm-hmm.
I really believe him when he says that. And I've seen it, and Q and Leonard, Kenny Moore. The list goes on and on and on. He pays his guys, and I fully expect him to pay JT. It's just a matter of not breaking that budget, so he can do this. Yeah, this is a piece we have to have, but I really need these other pieces too.
Yeah.
We got to come up with a compromise here. Is it on a signing bonus, or is it on guaranteed money? Or, there's 1,000 different ways to get this deal done for the numbers that fit both sides. And it's just a matter of time of sitting down and working it out.
Yeah.
But I really and truly believe that there's not going to be any issues. Ballard will get this done. He knows how valuable JT is. He's loved JT since day one in college, because Ballard's a Wisconsin guy.
Yep.
He watches.
He watches
Wisconsin. He's loved him from the start, and now he got him on the team, and the output that he gives week in and week out is irreplaceable. So he's going to pay him. It's just a matter of working out the details. So we just got to stay patient, let the two sides work out the details, and then we run with it. But you take JT out of that equation, you're definitely changing Anthony's projections.
Do we get a deal done before the season, you think? Or is this going to go into the season?
No, absolutely. It'll be done.
Okay. And then so then speaking of contracts now, what do you think the holdup is as far as Pittman goes now?
You see, I haven't heard anything about negotiations with Pittman. I don't even know if they're in negotiations with Pittman, just because I haven't heard nothing about it.
He says he's fine without it right now. He says he's good. He's okay.
Yeah. So, and I've mentioned this before. Look at what the salary cap is going to be for us next year.
It's going to be higher, much higher,
right? much by like $100 million or something crazy. Yeah. I don't remember the exact number, but it's crazy. So
if JT and Pittman, well, if they hypothetically weren't to get signed, then we'd be over $100 million next year.
Right, but you get one of them signed this year, you work on the other one next year, where you've got more play with the budget.
Yeah,
So is it one of the cases where Ballard sat down Pittman and his agent and said, look, there's no way we're letting you walk, but this is my plan. We're going to sign JT this year, and this position and this position and this position. Now, next year, we're going to work yours, but I'm not letting you walk, so don't worry about it. And they might have signed off on it and said, okay, we'll start negotiations later on towards the end of the season.
Yeah.
I don't know. Like, again, I'm not that insider. I'm not that fly on the wall, but I can honestly see conversations like that between a player and agent and the GM happening all the time. And the agent's looking at Michael and saying, yeah, because next year we're going to have a lot more money to be thrown at us. Yeah, that's all right. That's fair, because it's more money next year.
Yep.
Yeah.
That's just the way I see it, guys. I could be completely wrong, but like Clyde says, I usually not. Big Steve, the ultimate fan.
Yeah, Steve's been over here just going ham.
Yeah, Steve's an awesome individual. He's a Houston Texans fan, so we won't hold that against him.
Yeah,
but Steve's an awesome individual.
If you're vouching for him, that's fine, because I saw the Texan stuff on here. I'm just like, all right, we're just gonna get past this guy. Apparently, he's just bored right now.
So Pat, what about our boy Darius Leonard? What's the take or what's the news on him?
The last I read, he cleared medical waivers from team doctors and everything, and the organization. He's going to be at training camp tomorrow, but they're going to work him in slowly, work him and build him up.
Okay,
is what I've read.
Okay.
So, but having him back on is huge for us. I mean, that guy's personality and his style of play is unbelievable.
Oh yeah, he's the attitude and the energy of that defense, especially back there, because I mean that's the guy who's making sure everybody's held accountable on that second level. So Now, going back to the running back thing, because Clyde actually does bring up a question.
Yep.
He says, do we set the market for backs with JT's upcoming contract once it's actually signed?
We should.
What?
We should.
Why not? Why not? You already took a chance on the kid. He's proven himself. You're the one that said that you pay your own people.
Mm-hmm.
Yep.
Why not set the market?
Yeah. Yeah, because you and going against that will go against his word. And we know, of course, according to you as well, he's a man of his word. He's not going to sit there and BS you. He's going to come out, shoot it straight.
Right. Versus like Barkley, he signed a 1-year deal, maxed at $11 million.
Yeah, it's one more than what he would have got on the franchise tag, and it's still only a 1-year deal.
Yeah. I mean, to me, that was not a smart signing for him. He should have held out for multiple years with X amount guaranteed. And right now, this contract is the only thing he gets guaranteed. And Shaquan's been hurt quite a bit in his young career.
Yep.
Exactly.
Why did he sign 1-year deal? He should have been after a multi-year deal with X amount guaranteed. And that's what all these guys should do. These 1-year deals are so risky for both sides.
Yeah.
Yeah. That's why the timing on Jonathan Taylor with the pup list thing was so surprising, because we'd heard nothing about the ankle, we'd heard nothing about anything, but then, like I said, you hear about this call, and a couple of the thoughts that were being thrown around. I think Ryan Clark or Dominique Foxworth said it on ESPN. They said, you know what? It's just like, what would stop them from just going ahead and reporting and then saying, "Oh, my ankle's messed up," and then not playing? Yep. It's just like what would keep them from doing something like that? Which, I mean, when you look at it, it's just like it stinks, because then that puts you really in a terrible spot, because then that means, okay, they're going to look at you like, oh, well, he's already hurt. But at the same time, you're forcing their hand, because if you know that you're in an offense where you're probably going to be the feature guy, and JT is with Anthony Richardson. If Anthony Richardson plays, he's got to be the featured guy, because there's no way that you're going to have a quarterback of Anthony Richardson's caliber, but with his youth, not go in and just be able to help him in those read option situations, not help him with the checkdowns. So seeing what we see now, I mean, I don't think I've seen one person speak negatively about, Jonathan Taylor with the injury. I think everybody is either saying, hey, I don't blame him, go get paid, or they're saying, hey, listen, we're worried because we definitely need him, especially with Anthony Richardson.
Yep. I mean, I say it too. When we got Anthony, everybody was saying he was a 2-3 year project.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, he's talented, but there's so much he's got to learn, and he's got so little experience in college, and da-da-da-da-da. And then we draft him, and I start analyzing it, and I start thinking, hey, he's going to be okay.
Yeah.
We got JT back there. Mm-hmm. That takes a tremendous amount of pressure off of any quarterback. Look what Peyton Manning has been able to do with Edgerrin James.
Yep.
Just go back and think about some of those plays where Peyton would check down to Edgerrin because he had that safety net. And he knew it was a safety net. It wasn't a guess. Right now, with the young backup running backs, what we got, with the young quarterback, what we got, nobody's going to feel comfortable. Nobody's going to feel safe saying, okay, but you put somebody like JT's caliber back there, you immediately feel safe. Okay, this is our safety valve that's going to give our young quarterback enough time to start seeing the field, seeing what I'm coaching him, and then going back and teaching him even more. But he's actually got time because he's not scrambling for his life.
Yeah.
So to me, that's the most valuable part of JT's game right now, is that he's going to give Anthony the time he needs to develop because he's such a safety net.
Yeah.
And
absolutely.
You take that safety net out of there, it might take 2-3 years to get Anthony back up there. get him to where his athletic ability matches his talent. Because right now his athletic ability is well over his actual talent. But keep JT back there. He's blocking for him. He's a safety net on checkdowns, RPOs. The list goes on and on and on. What JT brings to the table with Anthony, and it's all good for Anthony.
Yep.
So pay the man the money. If you want this to be our next generational quarterback, pay that man that money. Because we don't have nobody else on the team that can sit back there and be that safety net for him.
Exactly. Now, have you emailed this to Chris Ballard?
No.
Okay. All right.
Hell no. Hell no. If I start trying to tell that man how to do his job, he will never talk to me again.
You will be blocked from everything, even the stadium.
Yeah.
Be like, just get him out of here. Get him out of here.
I gotta have a big old picture of my fat head up there with the no sign through it.
Hey, well, so like I said, I know that we've had a great time, and we're gonna absolutely make sure that we do this again. But I just got two things. For one, is Michael Pittman a wide receiver?
Is he a what?
Is he a wide receiver one?
It's okay to say no, Pat.
This is a point of contention for us because we argue this all the time.
Production wise, no. Fighting that dog, absolutely.
Wait, say that second part again?
Production wise, no. Stat wise, he doesn't show that he's that number one guy. But the fight in him, absolutely.
Oh, yeah. For sure.
Absolutely. The man has more passion during the game than I've seen any receiver, even over Des Bryant. And that dude would cry. But Michael Pittman, he'll fight you. He'll fight you for that ball all the way down to the ground. He doesn't give a shit.
Yeah.
I absolutely love Pittman, not only for his play, but his personality. He greets fans. He smiles with them. He takes his time with them. He's a real high caliber guy. So go back and look at his quarterbacks, and that's going to give you the red line to show you why he doesn't have the stats to call him a number one receiver. Yeah. But now go back and look at the play, and you'll see that he fights for everything.
Sure.
Yeah.
He has moments, right? But he also has moments, and we talk about this all the time, where he's given the opportunity to do things, and he doesn't take advantage of those opportunities.
Now, can I ask you one more question, Gandhi?
Sure.
Isn't that the same for everybody?
Yes.
Everybody drops a ball. Everybody wastes opportunity. Everybody does this. Everybody does that. To me, it's no different than everybody else.
Sure.
Jerry Rice dropped balls. Jerry Rice didn't get open 100% of the time.
Yeah.
It's just part of the game. Some plays you get the better of your opponent. The next play, your opponent gets the better of you.
100%.
So, but are you correct in saying that? Yeah, absolutely, you are. Yeah, you're 100% correct. But that's just the way I see things, is because everybody has their given Sunday. Sometimes you get more plays on the other guy. Sometimes the other guy gets more plays on you.
Yep.
It's just it's the game.
When you're talking about, trying to be a number one versus a number two, or be the upper echelon of what you try to do, you take advantage of those opportunities, then you don't take advantage of them.
You do.
And I feel like Michael Pittman, yes, everybody drops a ball, Jerry Rice, but Jerry Rice, more often than not, took advantage of those opportunities that he was given versus, not taking advantage. And I think that's where I am with Michael Pittman. He was not taking advantage more of than he did take advantage, if that makes sense.
Who was throwing to Jerry Rice?
Doesn't matter. Here's the thing.
No. To me, that's where you're wrong, because that is everything to a receiver.
Sure.
Can you get the ball to me to where I'm not getting my head ripped off every single catch?
Okay.
Montana did that. for Jerry Rice.
Yeah.
Carson Wentz did not do that for Pittman. Matt Ryan did not do that for Pittman.
Sure.
Phillip Rivers did.
Yep.
And that was his rookie year. And we fell in love with him. Oh, we got a number one receiver.
Yep.
But he had a quarterback that could put the ball in the basket.
So then the question becomes, two questions. This year, if Anthony Richardson is not able to do that, now you have to face yourself where you're in a contract year. Well, he didn't have the quarterback to do it yet.
Well,
so now you're paying on potential.
So I'm going to say something that's going to sound a little bit controversial. But T.Y. had a lot of drops, but we overlooked it because he had amazing chemistry with Andrew Luck.
Yeah, the moment Andrew Luck left, T.Y. was nothing.
And the thing is, like T.Y. wasn't out of his prime. He was literally like he couldn't get connected with Phillip Rivers. I think it's just I don't even think he was there when it came to Carson Wentz too much.
Yeah.
He was
injured too.
If we're talking, like, the thing is, that's the reason why I'm the way that I am with Michael Pittman, because given what you've seen, like, we've seen those flashes. We saw that flashes. We've seen those flashes in the Ravens game a few years ago when you got a Carson Wentz where he was able to get the ball to him.
Game last year.
49ers game where and the 49ers defense is no slouch.
None.
But you see him able to go, and mind you, he's not just taking the ball and going against, CB2s and 3s. He's going against your Marlon Humphreys. He's going up against guys who are your safeties and who are your cornerbacks, who you know by name from these defenses. The fact that he ended up having over 100 yards on the 49ers defense, when you knew for a fact that outside of him, there was pretty much nobody else. Our best receiver after Michael Pittman that year was Jonathan Taylor. And then it was Zach Pascal with, I think, somewhere around like 300, 400 yards.
Yep.
Well, that's because Chris Ballard thought we were set at wide receiver. He really believed in our guys. And we had a very young group.
Aren't you supposed to?
But I think it speaks volumes to the fact that you know exactly who your best receiver is, and he's still able to get those yards against these defenses.
Correct.
And then it's him, and then it's everybody else. There's no reason why why Michael Pittman is your number one receiver, and then Jonathan Taylor is your second best receiver based on stats and everything else. Like there's no way. Like, to me, that's not somebody who's not a number one in my opinion, because I mean, he's done what he can do given his opportunities. This last year was a cluster.
Yeah.
They literally had to downgrade the whole entire offense because the O-line couldn't get Matt Ryan time, and Matt Ryan couldn't get the ball deep consistently.
Yep.
So with those points, that's why I'll say I will take a receiver like Pittman that fights. I'll take that. I will take that fighter, and he will continue to fight until he doesn't have to no more. And you get JT signed, you get Anthony, elevated up. He's not going to have to fight. That ball's just going to drop right in there.
100%.
And then this conversation is no more. Then we're like, yeah, I told you Pittman was the number one. Wait a minute, this last year, no, you didn't say that.
Yeah,
but everybody will change their mind.
And that's the resounding noise from the fan base.
Yeah, because the entire situation changed for him. But if you have that fight mentality that he's got, you can work with that. And as you're building everything else, that fighting mentality doesn't change. You can count on it. You can count on the MPJ going up and throwing elbows to get that ball.
No, 100%. But at the same time,
I will take that versus calling him a number one receiver because he hasn't had a decent quarterback throwing to him.
Okay, exactly. I see what you're saying. No, I agree with what you're saying. Yeah.
That's why to me it's just like he's less of that finesse guy you're looking for, and he's gonna be more of like that Anquan Bolden type of guy. Like he's going to be that guy who's going to just be a tough matchup because he's just going to be tough. He's not a speed guy. He's not a guy who's going to go up and just grab one-handed catches, but I mean, he's going to absolutely grind things out and do great things. And I think I mean, with this wide receiver core, you have Pierce, you also have Downs. So this is going to be a much more dynamic offense. Thank you for that, Clyde, because
man is smart. Absolutely.
Oh, that's a guy I love. I love Josh Downs.
Yeah.
I love Josh Downs, and I've been on here saying it a lot.
Yeah, I can't
Very
wait.
interested
I can't wait to see him in person, man.
Yeah, very interested to see what they're going to do with Josh Downs. I am a huge Josh Downs believer.
Yeah.
And see, and that's another key piece to me for Anthony Richardson.
Yep.
Because if you're using JT like we talked about earlier, and now you're going to send JT into a short flat, and you got somebody like Josh Downs in there too, who you covering? You can't cover everybody. You can't double team everybody.
Right.
You know, and that combination is what's going to give Anthony the time that he needs to start seeing the game at the speed that it's played at the level it is.
Yeah, absolutely.
You know, because you're not going to come after Anthony like you did Carson Wentz or Matt Ryan or Phillip Rivers.
No, because he's going to make you pay.
Yeah, absolutely. Absolutely.
Yeah.
So how do you defend that? It's going to be really, really tough. But take away one of those pieces of the equation, like JT, it's not going to be as tough now.
Yep.
Yeah.
Totally
That's why I say without a doubt, I do believe they get the deal done. And they get it done probably within the next
couple weeks.
24, 48 hours.
Hours. Oh,
hours. Yes.
Ooh.
Yeah. Training camp starts tomorrow.
Can't wait.
I like it.
Even though
it's gonna be spicy.
Even though, you know, a star player like JT doesn't fully participate in training camp, you know, people like that have a lot of rest days. He still gets a lot of work.
Yeah.
You know, he still gets hit. You know, you want this deal done so he can start getting in that football shape. So his body can start getting used to taking those bruises and healing from them. And that's what training camp is for. You can learn the playbook at home. You can run your routes at home. You and your buddies can go to your local high school and do whatever you want on that field. Practice is about training camp, to me, is more about getting the body and the mind ready for the season versus knowing the playbook, understanding the reads, you know, and all the technical BS that comes along with the game.
Sure.
You got to get your body ready, because if that body's not ready, that first hit you take is going to wipe you out for the whole season.
Yeah.
Right.
Yeah, it's going to mess you up.
You know, it calluses your body is what it does.
Mm-hmm.
So that's just the way I see things.
Yes. Well, like I said, and we absolutely do appreciate the way that you see things. Of course, this would be a much longer discussion because I'm sure that we could all sit here and talk football literally all day. But
let's do a 12-hour marathon. I don't
12-hour marathon. All right.
Yeah, let's do it.
I'm ready. We've got plenty of topics to discuss. We can make a 12-hour stream.
Exactly. But you know what, Pat? But we absolutely, not only do we appreciate you coming here, but also we appreciate you just like I said, just talking ball with us. Like I said, we talk to a lot of people and we appreciate everybody that you talk to. But I think for us, it's somebody who's really just connected within, you know, that Colts community. The way that you are is just like, it goes without saying that is something that we absolutely appreciate. And we definitely do want to have you back on very soon because, I mean, like I said, this is another great conversation. Like I said, I know Clyde was a conversation, and you actually, you know what, you actually went light on him. You went light on Clyde.
Well, you got to remember, he's still active duty Air Force. He's got access to a lot of big guns. But one other thing, and Josh skipped out last year tailgating with us, but this year is going to be friggin' phenomenal.
The reason why I skipped out because I had a long night.
Well, I know that, but I wasn't gonna put it out to the world like you just did.
I go ahead and tell. I was fucked up.
Yeah, I don't know what you told Mama, but yeah. So if you guys come to a game, you got to tailgate with the Anvil crew.
Oh,
absolutely,
without a doubt.
I can't really go into too many details, but it is going to be phenomenal, absolutely phenomenal tailgating this year with us.
You guys,
and last year, every home game. Last year we had people from the UK show up. Mexico, China. Lady from China that follows us showed up. Yeah, we got an actual anvil that you can hit. Yeah, it's a lot of fun. That, and we've definitely stepped up our game in the tailgating department for this year.
Oh, we listen. We've been talking about which games that we're gonna map out to come to. Clyde talked to us last or 2 weeks ago about doing it. We're gonna be out there as soon as we nail down the dates, because I'm pretty sure we're gonna go to more than one. Then we're gonna let you guys know, and then we're gonna coordinate, because it's going to be a party.
Yeah, absolutely.
We'll definitely have to figure that out for sure.
But we're gonna keep Josh on a leash so he doesn't miss it again.
Yeah, no, Josh. Yeah,
you might have to put me on one too, because last time I was out there, I got a little too spicy.
Yeah, Harish was drunk on screen. I think we had a podcast that night. He just like, I'm not gonna lie, guys, I'm really fucked up right now. I'm like,
so that was my first time in Indianapolis since the Colts had moved to Lucas Oil. So I had myself a good old time.
Oh yeah,
we'll definitely make a trip up there this year. Sure.
That comment from Clyde is our expectations for the year.
Okay,
hey, we'll be
right there with you.
But we had a comment come in from Acosta, and he said Betty can't keep up with me. And Acosta, for the sake of bail money, we're gonna take you up on that. We're not gonna venture into that. Okay, thanks, but no thanks. We're not gonna do this. Okay. He said, and then this person said, "Are y'all better than the Anvil Show?" And on that note, you know what? We are not better than the Anvil Show, just because of the fact that it's just like the Anvil Show is they have. I'm gonna say, they have the type of community that we aspire to have. So we're building. We're getting there. So.
Yeah, there's no reason to ask a question like that, because we're all friends.
Exactly.
You know, there's no competition between this show, my show, or anybody else's show. You know, everybody that you see here on the screen, Stacy, if I call them and ask them to be on my show, they'll take their time and be on my show. They got a hold of me and said, "Hey, can you come on?" Absolutely. Yeah, because we're friends. We're all Colts fans. There's no better this. There's no better that. You know, I love your intro music. You know, to say something like that is a little left-sided, but it's fine, because it's sports. Everybody contributes. I lost the word. Competition.
Yeah.
Because it's sports, you know. But us and these guys, we're not in competition with each other. We're brothers. We help each other out. We lift each other up. That's it.
Exactly. One thing that we'll always deal with is just like, it doesn't matter who we have on here. It doesn't matter what podcast. At the end of the day, it's just like we're all doing this because we love it. And I mean, I will never not appreciate anybody that comes on here or that asks us to go on to where they are. Like it's all love. It's all love.
Even other fan bases. I mean, I'm in a lot of groups, and I'm in them because they're good people. They might be fans of the Texans or the Jaguars or whoever, but they're good people. They're fun people to be around. They make the experience enjoyable. You know, so I will definitely associate myself around them, not just Colts fans, you know, because I can't say I like every Colts fan that I've met. You know, some are just flat out jackasses. You know, that's it for you, but hey, you do your thing over there. I'm going over here. Love you, but I gotta go. Kind of thing. But when you get good people, like-minded people, you keep them in your circle. That's it.
100%.
Yep. Absolutely. So, Pat, with that being said, we're actually going to go ahead and get out of here, since we've had such a great time. And like I said, we're going to do this again very, very soon. But in the meantime, where can the people find you on social media, and when can they find you on the Anvil, on the Sick Podcast Anvil Show?
Well, you can find us at the Sick Anvil Show on Facebook.
Oh, the Sick Anvil Show. Right,
yeah, no, the Sick Podcast Anvil Show. I left the podcast out. I'm sorry.
Okay.
That's our Facebook page. That's also our Twitter page and YouTube page as well. So
Awesome.
I believe you can just pull that up and hit all of us. If you want to find me personally on Twitter, it's Patrick, I think Doerfle 1.
Okay, fantastic.
Yeah,
that's get it right. There we go.
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah, they wouldn't let me spell out my entire last name. those damn Germans and their names, I tell you what, are just damn long.
Just be like, I don't know what that means, but somewhere that don't seem right.
Give me a couple beers. I can't even spell my own last name. So
it's a door and a dolphin. It's a
and something's flying. But yeah, that's it. You know, and I love doing what I do because I get to share blessings with everybody. It's extremely fun. It's relaxing, but yet stressful at the same time when you're not winning.
Yep.
Yeah. You know, but part of this life is, and part of being a human being is meeting people, shaking people's hands, and getting to know other people. Yeah. You know, have that open-mindedness. Don't be afraid to walk up and shake somebody's hand and say, "Oh man, yeah, I saw you on the HorseShoe Mob Podcast. You know, I really like what you're saying, but I didn't agree with this." It's fine. You don't have to like everything I say. You don't have to agree with everything I say. But when you look at me, look at my character as a man.
Yep.
And you're going to like what you see. And from that, we become friends. We become brothers. We become family. Yeah. All right, Clyde, I'll change my name to Big Boy now. You asshole. Because he had to work in the morning to go to bed. He probably took leave just to stay up, so
right?
He can
he can hang out and then not have to get up early tomorrow.
You know what? I like Eric North now. Okay, because Titans fans have been a little bit
that's
unbearable.
The way it's supposed to be, Eric. Yeah, that's the way.
Absolutely.
You come to our stadium, you should be treated as a guest. If we go to somebody else's stadium, we should be treated as a guest. That's the only way. There should be no fights. There should be no bickering, arguing. Trash talking is part of the game, but leave the trash talking for when the clock's running. Once the clock runs out, we're back to being humans. So just be human with everybody else. Have a good time.
Yep.
Yes, absolutely. And so with that, like I said, we're about to check out. Guys, where can the people find you on social media? Starting Austin, where can the people find you?
You can find me on Twitter at CookieAustin2.
Yes, he will probably be on Twitter handing Titans fans their asses because some of them just act a little bit crazy at times. But you know what? We don't expect anything less from people who are ranked 28th on certain lists. Josh, where can the people find you on social media?
You can find me on Twitter at official Josh Senior and on IE Sports Radio, where I did an interview for the Colts.
Nice. All right, catch them on there. Glad to hear it. Harish, where can the people find you?
You can find me at Twitter, mostly at the Uncle Gandhi. That's GHANDI, and that's where I do a lot of my interacting on all things. And then obviously you can find me on the Longhorn Fan Battle Podcast Thursday nights at 8:30 p.m.
All right, and you can find me at CJ Colts Fan on Twitter, or on Facebook at Chris Bolt Speedman Jackson. Best name ever. But other than that, Pat, thank you. We want to graciously thank you for coming on. As I said, we definitely want to have you back on very soon so we can go ahead and get all the news from you from training camp. I want to say it's just like you say you're not an insider, but you're our insider. You're our
then you're in bad shape, brother.
You're our eyes and ears.
Exactly. But yes, but in all seriousness, Pat, thank you for your sacrifice. Thank you for your service. Thank you for coming on. Like I said, once you come on here, you're family.
I appreciate you guys having me on. I had a ball with y'all.
Yes,
I mean,
man,
just like we're all Colts fans, but we don't agree with everything we say. So we have dialogue. Yeah, we talk about it. I might still not agree with what Gandhi was saying, but I understand more where he's coming from because we had that dialogue.
Absolutely.
Yeah. And it's certain things like that. Like, I'll never agree why he believed that Sam Darnold will be a serviceable quarterback for us, and I'll hold that over his head till this day. But
I felt that way. I felt that way before I found out Frank Reich was a potato head. Like
we did a live draft show when he got drafted, and I apologize to the Jets fans for them drafting that. And I've not been wrong yet.
Well, what's funny? Was it Steve Sarkisian recruited Sam Darnold to USC, gave him off to Clay Helton, who destroyed him, and then he got drafted by the Jets and got destroyed some more. I just thought, he would have been destroyed even more by Potato Head, but I thought we would have had him before Potato Head became a thing. So that's my reasoning behind it.
Yeah, thanks, but no thanks. We're good.
Yeah, I'm definitely in the no thanks. I'm definitely in the no thanks boat now. So.
I felt the same way with Derek Carr conversation, him coming here. I think he's just a mediocre quarterback. I'm not saying he's a bad quarterback, but I don't think he was our answer. Darnold wasn't our answer. I think Ballard finally has found our answer in AR.
I think so too. I think as long as the fan base has a little bit of patience, I think we'll find.
I
know there's anxiety, but
the fans are probably going to need more than just a little bit of patience. He just turned 21.
Yeah, absolutely.
His experience in college, it shouldn't matter where he got drafted because of his talent, but his experience, it's going to slow him down. He's not coming into it, with 2 years under his belt of reading different defenses. He's coming in with 13 games as a starter. So those things those things do add up, but look at the talent this guy has. Look at the athleticism he has. So now give him the time he needs to grow into that role. Sign JT, let Pittman keep fighting for you. Let Downs keep opening up that slot, and everything's going to work out.
Yep.
But you got to give him time.
I agree.
Just like Darius Leonard or Shaquille, he's coming back off 2 major surgeries. Anytime you go around that spine, doesn't matter if it's behind the neck or down by the butt. That's major surgery.
Yeah.
He's not going to come back as he left. You got to give him time, and you will. You already expect it as a fan. Well, we know he's just coming back. He's got to have some time. You got to give Anthony that same amount of respect for time to grow back into where he needs to be.
Exactly.
100%.
Exactly. Yep. So great way to end it. Once again, thank you. Once again, Pat. Remember, we are going to be we're going to be back next Tuesday, 9:30 p.m. Eastern, 8:30 p.m. Central. Once again, thank you again for tuning in. And as always, please remember that Sam loves